يا أيها المؤمن الحاذرون اتقوا الله تعالى وإن الله مع الذين اتقوا الذين هم محسنون. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. All praises are due to Allah, Lord of the universes. All praises are due to Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. All praises are due to Allah, Master of the Day of Judgment. All praises are due to Allah who has sent His chosen messenger, Sayyidina Muhammad ﷺ, as the seal of prophethood and the intercessor for the Ummah. And may all peace and blessings be upon the pride of creation, the Imam of the messengers, the guide to the straight path, the master of the first and the last, the grandfather of Hassan and Hussein, Sayyidina Muhammad ﷺ. And may peace and blessings be upon his noble family and blessed companions, especially upon the four Khulafai Rashidin, Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq, Hazrat Umar Farooq, Hazrat Osman al-Ghani, and Hazrat Ali al-Murtaza, and all those who follow them until the last day. Ya ayyuhal mu'minun, O believers, welcome to you on this holy day of Jumma, the first Jumma of the blessed month of Zul Qaida. Rasulullah ﷺ is saying in his Hadith Sharif about the days we have entered into. The year is 12 months, of which 4 are sacred. The 3 consecutive months of Zul Qaida, Zul Hijjah and Muharram, and Rajab, which comes between Jumadil Awal and Sha'ban. So we are in the middle of the holy days, as described by the Holy Prophet ﷺ. We are in the days of Hajj. Inshallah Rahman, we should make intention to be from those who will be counted as the true Hajjis this year. O believers, in holy days and nights, we should follow the advice of Hazrat Umar Farooq, who is saying, judge yourself before you are judged. And if we are taking account of ourselves, if we are judging ourselves, then the first thing that we have to look at is our intention, our niyat. Because the Holy Prophet ﷺ is saying in his Hadith Sharif, verily actions are by intentions, and for every person is what he intended. So the one whose hijrah was for Allah and His Messenger, then his hijrah was to Allah and to His Messenger. And for the one whose hijrah was for the world to gain from it, or a woman to marry her, then his hijrah was for what he made hijrah for. Everything is depending on our intention. The second part of this hadith has a very deep lesson for us. What was one of the greatest actions that any human being ever made in history? The greatest action that any human being made in history was to make the hijrah with the Holy Prophet ﷺ from Mecca to Medina. Yet even in the hijrah, some people will not be accepted as being for Allah and His Messenger, because the intention behind that good action was dunya. So the warning of the Holy Prophet ﷺ coming from this hadith is that even if we are busy our whole lives with good actions and doing good works, those actions cannot be pure until the intention behind them is pure. This warning of the Holy Prophet ﷺ must make the one who has belief in his heart to wake up. Because even if someone is saying shahadat, praying, giving zakat, fasting in Ramadan, going to Hajj, giving charity and doing every good action, if the intention behind those actions, it is corrupt, then everything is going to be corrupted. What are the things that can corrupt the intention? Look to what our Shaykh has been speaking to us all his life. Anger will corrupt your intention. Stubbornness will corrupt your intention. Jealousy will corrupt your intention. And arrogance, it will destroy your intention. Rasulullah ﷺ is giving the warning about the effects of corrupt intentions in our next life, giving us a glimpse of the scene from the Day of Judgment. He is saying, ﷺ, the first of people against whom judgment will be pronounced on the Day of Judgment will be a man who died a martyr. The first one who is going to be judged will be a man who died as a martyr. Now look to this. There are martyrs who passed because they gave their lives in the small jihad, in the struggle physically for establishing haqq. But those are also called martyrs when they are giving up their lives to die for the big jihad, the greater jihad. And the jihad against to our nafs, against to our ego. That one will be brought, and Allah will show that man the favors He gave him, and the man will recognize him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, and what did you do about them? He will say, I fought for you until I died a martyr. Allah will say, you have lied. You only fought so that it might be said of you, he is brave, he is courageous. Then he will be ordered to be dragged along on his face until he is cast into hellfire. Then a man who has studied religious knowledge and has taught it, and who used to recite the Quran, he will come forward, and Allah will show that man the favors He gave him, and the man will recognize them. Allah will ask, and what did you do with the favors that I gave you? What did you do with the knowledge that I've given you? He said, I studied religious knowledge, and I taught it, and I recited the Quran for your sake. Allah will say, you have lied. You did. But your studying of the knowledge, you studied it so that it might be said of you, he is a learned one. You studied it so that people will praise you, to say that you are religious. And you recited the Quran that they may praise you, to say that he is a reciter. Then he will be ordered to be dragged along on his face until he is cast into hellfire. Another one with whom Allah has made rich, and to whom He had given all kinds of wealth, and Allah will show that man the favors He gave him. And the man will recognize them, and Allah will say, and what did you do about all the wealth that I've given you? And that man will say, I left no path unturned in which you like money to be spent without spending it for your sake. I spent all the money for your sake. Allah will say, you have lied. You spent money, but you did so that people will praise you and say to you that you are generous. Then he will be ordered to be dragged along on his face until he is cast into hellfire. Look at the warning. The martyr, the scholar, and the generous man. Maybe their actions benefited so many people. Maybe through them the work of Islam was happening. But because the intention in their hearts was not pure, they found disaster waiting for them in the next life. So guarding our intentions, it is not something that is extra. It is not something that is optional. Looking and judging our intentions is a matter even more important than life and death. It is a matter of safety and is a matter of disaster. And governing our intentions, it is not easy. To govern your intention, it is one of the most difficult things. One of the greatest awliyaullah, Hazrat Sufyan al-Thawri radiallahu anh, is saying, I have not treated anything more difficult than my intention, because it keeps changing. But today we find that people are living neither with a good intention or a bad intention, but that they are living, in fact, without any attention. People are just living according to the current that is pulling them. If they are born Muslim, then they live as Muslims, not out of belief or sincerity or faith, but out of tradition, out of ritual, out of habit, out of custom. We even find that people who are in the way of fighting the ego, in the way of Tarikat, they are living without an intention. Their life turns into a ritual without any meaning. They listen to sohbat without any passion. They make zikr, but their hearts don't move. They mix with the jama'at, but without any feeling coming to their spirit. Instead of becoming more awake in the way of Allah, they fall more into heedlessness. Why is that? Because they are living without an intention. Because maybe their intention changed. Because maybe they are not looking and guarding and governing that intention. They become like the froth on the top of the ocean, which goes in and out with the tide, depending on the direction of the water. There is an ayat for such behavior. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying in the Holy Quran, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, they have hearts with which they do not understand. They have eyes with which they do not see. They have ears with which they do not hear. They are like cows. No, in reality, they are in a worse place. They are the heedless ones. So what is the opposite of being in ghaflat, being in heedlessness? It is constantly being in the remembrance of Allah, in the remembrance of your Prophet, in the remembrance of your guide. And if we find that we're unable to always be in the remembrance of Allah, then we must be around the people who are always remembering Allah. But people have become selfish, and they wish to live isolated, individualistic, alienistic lifestyle. And they believe that they have faith, and they believe that their faith is good enough. So we don't see them in a group. We see them moving far away. But the end is no good. The end has never been good. Because to be with the Jamaat, with your spirit, with your heart, with your mind, that is the way of purifying the intention. It is the way of fighting the ego. It is the way of the Shaykhs. And alhamdulillah, that we have been blessed with one of the greatest Shaykhs that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ever sent. He's teaching us through His words, saying to us, you have to learn how to analyze before you do things, to understand why you are doing and what is the intention behind. The most important thing, the intention. Before you open your mouth, you must think, you must know, you must understand, where is this word going to reach in the end? What kind of damage is it going to do? Before you do any action, you must think, you must analyze, you must understand. Where is the end of this action going to lead me? Later, oh, I have this problem and I have that problem. Your problem never ends. It is impossible. It is in your hands to try to do something. When you start correcting yourself, turning around, you will be correct. Today's people are trying to correct the other ones. Don't correct yourself, because everyone became Firauns. Nemruds and Firauns had some power in their hands, at least worldly power. Today's people have no power, nothing, and non-stop 24 hours a day. So what's the job of the prophets? To teach mankind how to control their ego. The Holy Prophet ﷺ is coming from the war. He came to his masjid. He sat, and the Sahaba Kiram came and they sat. He said to them, now we are turning from the small jihad to the greater jihad, to the bigger jihad, from a small war to a greater war. They said, Ya Rasulullah, we are just coming from war. So many of us died, so many are wounded, so much wealth disappeared. Can there be a bigger war than this? He said, alayhi salatu wassalam, yes. The war that you are going to make against your ego, against your nafs, that is the biggest jihad that you are going to make. And that jihad must continue until you enter to the grave. You cannot let it go. You cannot say, oh, today I fix myself. My ego is complete, so I'm going to do as I like. You cannot do as you like. The more you are completing your ego, the more you're going to see Allah's orders more detailed to you. You watch every word that you say. You watch every step that you make. This is the reason of Tarikat. Tarikat is not for you to eat each other. Tarikat is not for people to sit next to each other and hate each other. It's not that. Tarikat is to teach you, to take you from the lower self and to bring you to the higher station. These are the words of the friends of Allah. And through following these words, we will reach to safety. O believers, that jihad of the nafs, it is never going to finish. Because that ego is always trying to fool us. But that jihad, it is the effort that we must dominate our life with. Because if we take it seriously, we are understanding that in every moment our ego is trying to fool us and make us fall into the lowest parts of hell. And with that understanding, we must be awake. We must not be arrogant. We must not be proud. We must not say, who is that one that is telling me what to do? We must not say, we are the same. We must put our ego down, and in that way we can find safety. The believers, the murids must always be awake. And that time the intention, it will be pure. The intention will be safeguarded. The intention, it will be governed. The intention will not be hijacked. The intention, it will not be corrupted. It is not for us individually just to look and to understand and to judge by ourselves. We have the one that is in front of us. We need the guide and we need the teacher to say. Inshallah, that time the intention is going to be pure. And we are going to struggle to make everything we do for the sake of Allah. In this way, our sheikhs, they are teaching us to make a huge intention. If we make big intentions for Allah's sake, even if we are not able to see the fruits of those intentions, inshallah Rahman, we will get the reward, we will get the blessing. The master of our master, Sultan al-Awliya Shaykh Maulana Muhammad Nazim Adil al-Hakkani Qadasullah Sir, is saying, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has said that our intentions are better than our actions. This is because our capacity for action is very small. It is like the action of the black ant trying to extinguish the fire of Nimrud. But the intention of that ant, it is big and it is glorious. Like this ant, my intentions are very big, and therefore my functions are also very big and yet so simple. You may imitate my intentions. The most important function for the Muslim world today is to intend the like of what I am intending. We should try not to leave good functions and good actions, however difficult they may be. We must prepare ourselves with our intentions. Everyone must understand that he shall carry away every batil and falsehood from east to west and from north to south, and not to leave anyone on earth with wrong ideas and wrong intentions, so much so that we must try not to leave anyone to be against the orders of the Lord. That is my mission and the mission of everyone. May that be our mission. We are making intention to be with our Shaykh. We are making intention to continue his work. We are making intention to be from those who are preparing for Hazrat Mahdi alayhi salam and to be from his followers and and from his helpers. We are making intention to stay in this way until our last breath and to pass from this world with that intention and with that shahada.